Beth asks, what do most high stakes players believe about poker that you think is wrong?
The most common thing I've had so many people say, no, you don't understand. The fish don't care. Like as if they're certain. I've had so many people tell me this, right? And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? Like I was the American that got into games no one else in the world could get in China that they didn't let any foreigner, they didn't let any pro. And these people would be like, you're so lucky to be in those spots. You're so, and then, somehow the next day, weeks later, hours later, whatever, it would come up. And they'd be like, no, 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 you don't get it. The fish just don't care. And I'm like, I do get it, at least a little, and
Yeah.
they could just be so sure. I mean, I've probably had like at least 100, but probably hundreds. It might be over 1,000 interactions like this. And like of those, I don't know if 5% of the time people caught themselves and were like, wait a second, if I ever was going to have an experience to realize I'm wrong on this thought, this should be it, right? Like,
It-
the guy that's
yeah.
one of the best at this is telling me, hey, you're wildly wrong, just so you know. And people will be like, no, you don't get it. Like, this is the thing the most pros get wrong. They just, don't think about if you actually try to empathize for a few minutes, how it feels like to be a business guy, someone who's maybe down lifetime or even or whatever in poker, who sometimes is the fish. The thing I would say is this, right? If you try to empathize, actually, a lot of those people might be playing to blow off steam or enjoyment or whatever. And, if their options are poker or blackjack or roulette, I think there's a pretty good argument that poker is a better option. And, you know, I'm not pretentious or presumptuous enough to think that I should make their choices for them, at least they're not like really blowing up their life, right? If they're gambling away 1% of their yearly earnings or whatever, which like a lot of the biggest fish are like that. It's some billionaire that's gambling away a few mil a year or whatever. Like that's a pretty reasonable thing to me, right? And sometimes they like the social, they like the whatever.